Hi, Jessica. So first off, thank you so much for sending me that video. It really helps me hear and see what's happening with your playing. First off, I thought your playing was great. I think you're a very good player. And after listening to it, it's not really like what you're doing with left hand and right hand, like the mechanics of actually playing, but what you're emailing me about comes down to the overall timbre of the piece of music. That basically means what is the sound, what is the feel of the music, and every song has a different type of feel. Let me give you an example. If you go onto the site and you listen to the song that Evan and I wrote, and he performed it, it's called Spanish Nights. It has this, like, he digs into that with his playing, and it's just like explosive in sound, like huge dynamics, and that's in the second half of the song. But if you contrast that, the first half of the song is a beautiful, soft, flowing, sweet sounding melody that turns into this giant dynamic, right? But the first part of that song is very similar to Out in the North. Out in the North has a very elegant, beautiful sustain and flow throughout the entire piece of music. So the first thing you want to do when you approach playing music is you want to recognize what the overall timbre of it is. You want to recognize what the overall feel of it is. And feel can be affected in both hands, but it tends to be primarily in the right hand that it is affected. Let me give you a really easy example to demonstrate this. So if I was to play C major scale, in the first position, just basic C major scale, so that time I used these fingers to play. I used the flesh of the fingers. The flesh of the finger produces a very soft and sweet sound. It's very pleasant. We can contrast that sound and we can get a brighter, punchier tone if we use the nail of the index, which you can hear tapping along there. It's just going to be a lot more than the flesh, right? Sounds nice, but it's a very different timbre. It's a very oomph in your face. Like, I want you to really hear it pronounced. And that's really what comes down to all of song playing. That same concept's applied to the chords that you're playing for that song as well. If I strum with the flesh of the thumb, I can get a softer, sweeter sound. Same concept. If I strum with the nail of the index, I get a brighter, more in-your-face sound. And it also is affected in how hard you're strumming, and that goes for both ways. You can strum very hard, you can strum very soft. So my suggestion for you is to think a little bit about what the right hand is doing. Now that song uses that triple pick technique that we taught in the course, so it's going to be more complex. I wouldn't actually recommend starting working on this concept with that song, because Out in the North is a very challenging tune in terms of what the left hand is doing. Instead, I would just start with traditional finger picking and pick a much easier song to play, and first recognize the overall feel and try your best to recreate it. Now there's a live lesson that Matt taught that talks about this concept in further detail, so I'll link that in the email text that I write. So check out that lesson. We do Skype lessons. Steven teaches the Skype lessons, not Steven that taught the triple strum course, the other Steven. So if you do want to take a Skype lesson with him, he'd be able to help you on that song. I do want to state, though, that he does not know that technique. So he can help you play the song. He can recognize all the stuff we talked about, the feel and everything. But just know, if you do book a Skype lesson with Steven, he's not going to be able to play it exactly like Tobias or the other Steven. So I just want to throw that out there. But yeah, check out that other lesson. Start with an easier song, and if you want, just send me back a video on an easier one to play, and then I'd be happy to help you further. So I hope that helps.